Alright, so I am going to start checking the overclocks on this card on Ravencoin, and there's two reasons I'm doing this. First of all, there's one of my followers or subscribers, his name is Goblin Loser, and he requested this video, how to figure out your clocks on a new card if you weren't able to Google it or whatever, if you wanted to figure them out yourself basically. So we're going to start from scratch for that reason, and also because this is again my coworker's card and he wants to know how to clock it. So let's get started on this. So we're going to open up T-Rex here, and we're going to let that start running in the background here. I've also got hardware info open, and I'm watching all my temperatures here, and we've got our power consumption down here as well. So our current GPU power is 170 watts, and now it's 310. See that? Because we just finished generating the DAG file, and now we're pulling 300 watts. So now you're going to watch these temperatures jump way up. So the first thing I want to do is I want to turn off automatic fan control, and we're going to max out the fan. So now we have fan speed at 100%. We are mining Ravencoin. So I can tell you right now, I do know we're going to want to boost the core clock a little bit. So we're going to do, let's try plus 100 here. And we're at 34 mega hash, right? And I can do plus 100 on some other cards I have, like a 3060. So I'm assuming I can at least get plus 100 on here. And let's go plus like 1,000 on the memory. And we'll see what that does. Okay. Now we're at 34 mega hash. Let's let this run for a second. And look at that, we're already at memory junction temperature of 88 degrees Celsius. So that kind of sucks. But we haven't cut any power from it either. We're at 309 watts. We are now up at 35 mega hash with those clocks. Okay, 36 mega hash and climbing. 36.74. It's still going up, and it doesn't look like it's having any issues so far, so I'm gonna go ahead and bump up by another 50 and see how that goes out. Okay, now if you look at that, I've got 37.93 mega hash now, so let's apply these higher clocks. Alright, now we're at 1950 core clock, and the memory clock's at 10,250 hertz, 251 hertz. We're now at 38.77 mega hash, and our memory temperature, it looks like it's still in the 80s. Alright, GPU temperature at 61, and we're at 38.81 mega hash now. Alright, let's bump up this core clock a little bit more. We're now at about 200 core clock. Let's see what that does for us on our mega hash over here. Okay, see how that, I don't think that really helped us. 38.57, 38.8, it's at 38.5753. Okay, so I don't really think that helped us too much, so we can bump the core clock back down to about plus 160, I think, was the last spot that we got. A noticeable improvement. And there we go, back up. 38.6. Okay, so about 160. I'm going to drop it to 150 and see if that does anything to it. And we're just waiting for it to refresh one more again. And you can see also in T-Rex we're showing a memory temperature of 86 and a core temperature of 61. And we're still doing, there's 39 mega hash. Okay, so I think we can get this a little higher. Let's try plus 1250 on the memory now. Alright, so now we bumped it up by another 250-ish. and it's reflecting it up here in the megahertz. That's awesome. So we're 10,500 megahertz on the memory. And we went up just barely on the hash again. 39.43 now. Okay. And now let's try 1300 on the memory. Yeah. We're at 39.87. Let's see if we can get it up to 40 mega hash on Raven. Should be able to get it. Yep, 40.18 right there. Okay. Now we're still pulling 300 or 296, 317 watts though, so that's definitely an issue. So now we have two options. I can start pulling the power limit over here and see where it starts affecting my hash rate. I can also go higher on the memory and see where it crashes. So 1350 on the memory. I see now we're at 90C. Right there. Okay. That's a little hot. That's 40.42. Okay, so let's try 1400 on the memory. And 40.5 mega hash now. Let's see if bringing up the core helps now that we have the memory up way higher. So if we bring the core up to 200 now. We are still using about 300 watts. 40.56 mega hash. .5. Alright, let's try 1450 on the memory. And we're going to see what this does. Oh, that memory temperature at 90C. That's not good. 40.61 mega hash now? Okay. Let's try 1500 on the memory. And probably gonna have to cut a lot of this video out because this is getting rather long, huh, guys? Okay, seems like that's pushing nicely. 40.79. Let's try 1600 on the memory. Alright. So now we're at memory frequency of 10,852 core clock memory our core clock frequency of 1920. So now one of my options is I can put this core clock into T-Rex and we can see what the power drops to, or I can start pulling the power limit over here once I figure out the limits on this other stuff. See, now we're at 41.3 mega hash, so let's see if I can push this memory up. Let's try 1700. There we go. Look at that, we're almost at 11,000. Let's see if we can push it to 11,000. I think we can. We got it at 11,000 megahertz right now. Alright. And we're just waiting for this number to refresh. 41.65 mega hash right there. At 311 watts. Nice. I mean, it doesn't even have that much more to go. I doubt it'll be able to take this for long. We'll see. I'm gonna push it till it crashes because I want you guys to see what happens. But man, it's just taking these clocks like no problem. Alright, 41.85 mega hash a second. 41.88. Okay, so now let's bump the core a little bit more and see if that helps my mega hash. That's another 25 on the core. It's showing it up here already, and it's kind of. There we go. 42.2. Look at that. Okay, so let's give it a little bit more core because I just gained. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Okay, so now let's try 250 on the core. Is it taking it? Yeah, kind of. 1965, 1950. We're already at 1950. Let me go to 300 and see if it'll... Oh! Reduce overclock. There you go, it crashed. Alright. So we'll see if this recovers in a second. That was a crash right there. So plus, we got to what? Plus 250. Core clock was like 1950. Memory was 1800. Alright. Let's pull this back to core clock. Oh man. Core clock of 225. Memory at 1800. There we go. And it's not quite up there yet. I think it's building the... Is it generating the DAG file? I'm not really sure. I might have to restart T-Rex. Looks like it's generating the DAG file now. You can usually tell because the CPU core megahertz goes through the roof for a second while it's building the DAG file. And then there we go. So it has generated the DAG file. It looks like it's about to start mining. Our memory temperature, there we go, 41.87 megahertz, mega hash a second. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to let the mega hash stabilize. Because we pretty much found our limit. I don't know that I want to go any higher on the memory. I mean, it's going to be the same thing. And you can start pushing this higher and higher and higher on the memory. But looking at our memory temperatures already, That's what I'm a little worried about. So I'm going to leave that at the lower clock rate. And then let's start pulling some power here and see if it affects my hash rate. Okay, so we're going to pull it back to 91% power. You can see it dropped right here to 279 watts, 278 watts. And my mega hash hasn't dropped yet. It hasn't dropped. Okay, so look at that. I pulled off 20 watts, basically. Right? And my mega hash really did not drop very much. So it looks like we can pull some more power out of this. Let's try 87 power. $41.71. Let's see what it gets now. 41.82. So it looks like I'm able to pull some more power out of it. We're down to 262 watts in the software. 41.85, 41.84. So it looks like I can pull a little bit more power out of it. Let's try 85. Look at that, we're dropping more and more watts down here. 260 watts now. And it's kind of bouncing around a little bit. There we go. Now I dropped some mega hash. You see that? So I went from 41.83 to 41.72 to 41.7. So that's going to be the limit right there. I might even be able to get a little bit of hash rate back if I gave it an 86. So you also notice my GPU core megahertz up here, right? It's like 1785, 1770, 1785, and I'm getting 41.69 mega hash, and my memory is at 1800. So what I can do, look at that, 41.85 again. It was at 1800 megahertz. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my core clock in T-Rex, along with, well, what setting my core clock in T-Rex is gonna do is it's gonna actually set my power limit, and setting my power limit is gonna help me. And look at that, actually our hash rate's going even higher now. 42.12, and we're at 260 watts in the software. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. It's definitely a dense GPU, but the 3060s I was just testing are actually more efficient. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this 1700, 1800 megahertz, alright, and that plus 1800 on the memory, and let's go into my miners now. So here's miners, here's T-Rex. I'm going to open the readme file. We're going to scroll down a little bit, and here we go, core clock lock. Alright, we're going to copy that, and then this is the file I was launching. Let's go edit. And this is what I was doing to test my 3060s too. So core clock lock 1800. Now let's go back over to that readme and let's grab, we're gonna also need fan speed. So let's put in fan speed. Let's do 90 for now, I guess. No. Let's do 80. We'll do 80 fan speed. That might need to be changed. And then we'll go back to the readme, and I need to copy this memory clock right here. So Control V and copy that, and we'll come back over to the miner again, and I'll Control paste that, and we had a setting of 1800 on there, right? So now let's save that, and we'll close the readme. We no longer need Afterburner at this point in time. I want to make sure it's closed down on the tray. It is closed, and we are going to right click and run as an administrator on this. So while that's building the DAG file real quick, what I want to show you is, in order to run as an administrator, I had to add this right here to the beginning of it. And where I found that is when you go into your T-Rex miner, you go right click on T-Rex, the application, right click on it, go to properties, and I have to copy this right here, that location, and I pasted it in there, and then I put a little parentheses there, and I put a backslash there, not a forward slash, a backslash between T-Rex and that. That's what I copied, and then I put another parentheses at the end of it, and that makes it be able to run as an administrator. You still have to agree to it, right, when you do it, but that's how you do it. And now this, check this out. So now we've got this thing running. It's 41.88 mega hash, and let's go into hardware info and see what kind of power this thing says it's pulling. It says it's pulling GPU voltage, GPU wattage right there, 264 watts in the software. Well, in hardware info, so it's pretty accurate. T-Rex miner says it's 263 watts, which is very similar, and we got a memory junction temperature of 82 right now. So let me let this run for a while. I'm gonna let this run for probably a couple hours, and I want to check that memory temperature, and we're gonna decide if I need to repad this card or not. So we'll be back.
Got a huge hole in your boot? Spent all your money on graphics cards and you don't want to buy any more boots? Fix it with an anonymous miner sticker. That's right, you'll be good to go. No more hole in them boots.
Waterproof in seconds.
Is your bumper falling off because you ran over everybody at the PC parts store line? Well, you can fix that with an anonymous miner sticker. Or maybe two, as well.